Hey, good morning, colleagues, and welcome to our third webinar. This is a series of SDF webinars that we'll be conducting every Thursday up until the end of the quarter. We will be obviously issuing out registration links for future webinars, but we have time boxed or time blocked Thursday between 9 and 10 just to obviously host these webinars. In the third installment is the discretionary grant submission webinar today, where we'll be building on obviously the first two webinars that we had. The first one was on the 1st of February, where we obviously took SDFs through the process of registering as an SDF, linking themselves to a company and also registering a company. The second webinar focused on the submission and completion of mandatory grants, which was obviously a build on the first one. So the third one is also a continuation on the first one, where we are building on from the registered SDF and the company that had been created, with, of course, the company details. One of our colleagues will be sharing the links to the previous webinars for those that could not attend, so that they can obviously familiarize themselves with the process. A bit of housekeeping before I move on from this slide is that we will be taking questions and answers as the session commences. And then, of course, if time allows us, because I would want to obviously release colleagues at 10, we will obviously have a live Q&A session where there's some clarity-seeking points that might be required or needed. We will be taking those. Those will be, of course, as I said, time-dependent. If we do run out of time, there is an email where colleagues can obviously pop us an email for very specific issue assistance. Maybe there's an issue that you're dealing with, or maybe there's a question or comment that you have regarding any of the processes covered today or any general NSDMS queries or issues. I will flight the email and also post it on the chats so that you can obviously have it close by, and we will gladly assist them. Now, for the purpose of today is obviously the discretionary grant submission process. So the process we are covering is discretionary grant. This, we will be touching on the two types of grants that are currently administered within the MESITA, which is the pivotal grants. These are, your pivotal learning programs, such as bursaries, learnerships, and also skills programs. And then you've got the special projects, which are project-based type of discretionary grants. We will also be covering those ones, and then, of course, we will be taking you through the process. Some of the prerequisites, as I've mentioned in my opening, is that you need to be registered as an SDF, of course, and then you need to be an SDF linked to an active company on the NSDMS. Now, the difference between DG and MG is that for DG, you need not be a levy contributing company to the MESITA, but you should be a company that's active on the NSDMS. One of the two documents that we will cover, of course, is just a prerequisite. It's the BEE documents and, of course, the project proposal. Now, the email that I was talking about, I am flighting it, but I'll also just paste it on the chats so that you can have it close by should you have any further questions or specific issues that you require assistance with. Now, on that note, I'll hand over to our presenter for the day, Lesego Mogwana. She's not alone. She's supported by our fellow MIS team members who would be obviously manning and responding in the Q&A section. Thank you, Lesego. Over to you.
Thank you, Stan. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to be taking you through to the DG Pivotal application. And I believe everyone is able to see my screen now. So we still continue from where we left off. I had explained on our first session to say, this is the link that obviously you will be seeing on the on our login page when you get to the login page. But for today's session, we're obviously working on this one. It's our test site for the purpose of this session. So I'm going to be logging in as an SDF, a primary SDF. There we go. So we're still using our last time's company, Mets Holdings. So once you are logged in, you get to see that your company is active. So it's part of the prerequisites that you need to ensure all the time for you to be able to continue with the registration process. So I'm going to begin with the pivotal, which is our discretionary grant application. So for you to proceed with that one, you need to click on this menu item. You click on your SDF icon, and when you populate, you will get the project portal tab. Click on the project portal tab. You get to see your company. If you have a look at the dashboard, you are able to see all the funding that are currently being granted from the SETA's side for this window, for that specific window period. You've got your start date and your end date as well. Please be aware of this one. And for you to proceed, you get to this point is the landing page where you get to click the edit and view button. So once you click on the edit view button, you've got a button that say initiate your grant. When the button populates, you get these funding windows options. So you need to specify, this is very crucial because should you make a mistake, then you will get some challenges. Ensure that what you are applying for in this point, it's what is open for this specific period. So I'll be proceeding with the pivotal program for this purpose. I'm creating my window here. Once you get to this point, you can see that it has opened, but it will tell you this status to say it's not yet submitted, meaning that you need to obviously click on the edit and continue with the application. When you get to the page after the edit view button, this is the landing page. These are your company details. At this point, you can't do any amendments. You can only do any amendments under the company management. So when you click on the next tab, it's the company data, which obviously pulled from the company management. So it's all the details regarding the people that are there. And here is the main form, the main focus when you're doing your pivotal training. So you get to stipulate to say what type of an intervention are you applying for. For this purpose, I'm just going to select apprenticeship. So once you select on apprenticeship, you will see that it will gray out the question that was saying, is it NQF aligned? Because automatically by specifying the intervention type, it does confirm some of the questions to say, is it a pivotal of yes, of which in this case it is a pivotal and it is NQF aligned, of course. So you get to select which level is the training that you are doing for the students. And when you get to this point, are you funded with any other SETA? It's where you have to specify. You can specify any other SETAs where you're paying your levies to and proceed. But in this case, I'm just going to select this one. And for municipality, you have to specify which municipality are you situated in, if it's Cape Town, if it's City of Joburg or Tshwane. There you go. So then it's asking for the FO codes, what the training that you are training your people onto. What is it? Which one is it aligned to? So you've got multiple options to select from at this point. So you can stipulate which one you're looking for. The starting date, when is the training going to start? did it start last year or is it just a period of this year? You do have the option. And when are you planning to train? And when will the training end? You can specify. So it can be a date before. It should be a year to come, the next coming year, because what we do is for specific period. So you need to be crucial and check the dates that you're applying for here. When you get to the provider type, you get to choose which one, and the disability is the person that you're training. Does they have a disability or not? You have to specify there. Then when you get at this point, it's asking for, it's a short description, or maybe let's say a summary of these learners that you are training. So it involves the number of learners that you're planning to train, and as well as the estimate costs. So this estimate cost is auto populated by the system. Once you, depending on the type of intervention that you are doing. So automatically the system does stipulate, or it confirms the estimate cost looking into what you have selected there. And you can then check to see. Okay.
All right, Lucero.
Yes.
Maybe just give me a minute here. Colleagues, if you do have a question, can you kindly use the Q&A function? Or if time allows, we would be able to take questions at the end of the session. This is just so that the presentation flows. So if you've got a question, you can use the Q&A function, we'll get to it. Or if you are patient, we will take you as the first question when you open up for Q&As after the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stan. So I'm going to be proceeding. Click on the submit button. Okay, yeah, so it's looking for the SAQA ID. So you need to ensure all the time that when you put your intervention time, it goes along with the SAQA ID. So we had ensured that the window that is opened, we've got all the relevant intervention, even the SAQA ID that are going to be aligned to that specific window that's talking to the intervention type that you have selected. So you need to ensure that you have all the information that is mandatory here on the screen, and click on the submit. So if once you click on the submit, the information will be populated at the bottom. You are able to expand and view. You are able to obviously delete the record if you are not happy. You still have a chance again to click on the edit and update some of the fields that are here. If you're not happy with a certain things, the system just give you those options to continue. Then moving forward, we go into the required documentation. Stan had already mentioned the two documentations that are a prerequisite for this process. So our project proposal is one of the mandatory documents that is very essential. Basically, this is the main thing that internally, it's something that we actually check and look at. So I'm going to click here to get to the proposal. Yeah, so actually teaching. Okay. So it's a pivotal, and here is the project proposal. It's obviously something that you had prepared from your end, and ensure that you are happy with all the details, because basically this is the main thing that you are doing. Even the BEE certificate is very essential at this point. Ensure that you have the relevant document. Then once you're done with the grant application tab and the required documents, the last page for your pivotal would be the sign off. So there's a question that says indicate whether your plan training is in line with the employment equity plan. So you need to confirm if it is, it's a yes, and basically you'll be done. So it's just a straightforward application with the 3 forms and a sign off at the bottom. So as a primary SDF, you are happy with what you have submitted, then you need to ensure that you click on the checkbox. You won't be able to submit without clicking on the checkbox, and then here you go.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
thank you.
thanks, Lesego. Now, colleagues, in the last year, Mercita has introduced a much more rigorous evaluation process on our discretionary grants, and that applies for pivotal and also your project grants, which Lesego is going to get to in a minute. So once this submission has been done, of course, as the primary SDF or the SDF that did the submission, you will receive a notification of submission, and then that triggers a process. It's a 4-step process essentially, where first it goes to the regions where the company belongs to. And what's going to happen, it's going to start with the verification and compliance checks. So these are, checking the company, if it's active, looking at the proposal, the BE, the documentation, site visits for programs that require workplace approvals, etc. So the activities kick off there. And then, of course, once that's completed, it then goes to the evaluation process. Now, once the evaluation process has completed, they would have obviously their recommendations that then go to adjudication, where adjudication then obviously supports or endorses the recommendation. And what's going to happen is that we then move over from adjudication to MenCo approval. After MenCo approval, there would then be the communication of awards and non-awards. Now, for the non-awards, there's also another process that then obviously kicks off appeals if there are issues with any outcomes of the verifications, the evaluation and adjudication. This is where now colleagues have got the ability to request for higher allocations and etc. Just before I proceed, Lesego, I noted that there's a couple of comments in the Q&A that they can't hear you. If maybe you can just probably just move closer to the mic before we then proceed to the projects, and then we can then open up for questions. Lesego?
Okay, thank you, Stan. I don't know. Some of the colleagues are saying I am audible. I think maybe it could be the colleagues are having challenges from their end. Yeah. So I'm going to proceed with the project portal application. Thank you. All right. So for you to proceed with the project portal, please do note that for the pivotal, you get to the point where it says project portal. And similar way, when you are now applying, you follow the very same process. You click on the project portal, you can see that on your dashboard, there's going to be different projects, special projects that are listed here. And you'll get to then click on this view edit tab. When you click on the view edit tab, you do have an options to initiate. So what I like is that you are able to see for what you have done, applied for already. In this case, should you have an option to apply for both maybe, and you do have an option to say initiate grant. When you do initiate, you've got your special project listed. There's going to be multiple projects that you are going to see on this drop down. So just ensure that you go along, you read, and you do have an understanding of the window that is being offered for that specific window. And when you click on that create, you can see that it created a special project. This is the one that I selected for corporate social initiatives. When you click on your view edit, it then takes you to your company details. So we did indicate to say that it's pulling from the company management tab and your company data. Similar thing, it pulled from your company management tab. When you get to here, this is now the difference when you get to see looking into that one, the first one for pivotal and the project, because when you look at it, it speaks about the key focus areas. So you need to indicate the key focus area that you are applying for. So you do have options. You do have options you need to go through and ensure that you have that specific one that you are looking into. So there's multiple. We try to ensure that they are talking to the project that are mentioned that we are offering, that SDF is offering. Then you get to this point where you have to specify the intervention types. Please do note there's going to be multiple intervention types as well from the drop-down list. So where you have to specify, that should obviously talk to the key focus area that you are looking into, and you click on this submit button. You do have an option to clear. Should you want to remove what you just entered, you are not sure, you do still have an opportunity here to either update it or delete the record if you're not happy with it. So I'm just going to proceed, and you can obviously add more, but basically is to specify the specific one that you are looking into. So you've got the tab for your project motivation. So when you get to your project motivation, I see on the chats, I came across something that is talking about a project, the proposal template. So basically, this is an example of a proposal template, if I can say, because that's where you get to specify the description, maybe the subject, description, where you summarize the overall training. So for this purpose, I'm not going to give you any hint. I'll just say it's important. Make sure you do cover it. And you obviously have your purpose. Same thing with this one. You need to ensure that you've got your purpose in place. I believe colleagues would then be ready to define at this stage, because it's actually where you put, maybe you are defining your solutions with that regards, and you've got to even explain some of the outcomes that you have, to say what will be the cost and whatever benefits and all those things. So you've got the benefits where you have to specify the benefits that you are checking. I'm just going to say it's very important, because you won't be able to proceed any further, because these are mandatory fields. So you need to ensure that in all of them you give enough information for your proposal to be, available. And you have to specify the potential risk. So what are the risks that you are having? So everyone will tell that, as every project it comes along with the risk. Ensure that you specify in details the risk and everything. So what is the estimated overall project cost? You need to ensure that you specify how much, looking into your estimates, the project is going to cost, and how many beneficiaries are then involved with this regard. Here's a question that you come across, is say project administration fee, is it required? Is it not required? So you need to ensure that you specify whether it is required or not. Then you get to the point where it's looking for the location. Okay, I missed this part. Okay, the details is fine. Then the project location, you need to specify the location and ensure that you click on the add button. So once you click on the add button, you'll see that the location is going to display down there, and you are able to go above review. You still have an option to either remove what you had and make any amendments, any changes that you still want to do until you're happy with your project motivation, which it is an essential, of course, for the application that you are doing. Go into the requirement documents. It's very crucial. we did mention you need your project proposal as well. Don't say because you had your key focus area, your motivation, then this is not needed. No, this is also needed. Obviously, you would have prepared it as a PDF document or a Word or whatever format. Then the system is going to take it. You get to your BEE certificate as well. It's very essential. Then the very last tab is a sign-off tab. You need to indicate whether your plan training is in line with your equity plan. Is it a yes or is it not? You can specify that no, it's not actually in line with the equity plan. And there's a check button for your sign off, of course. Make sure that you have your sign off check button stipulated. And if you're happy with your application, these are the 3 essential forms. So it's your key focus areas, it's your project motivation, as well as the required documentation. The last one is your sign-off page. I think it's pretty straightforward as well. And once you are done, click on your submit DG.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think that then covers the project proposal. But what I wanted to highlight on the process where Lesego was looking at key focus areas, I just want to maybe Lesego, if you can just use another company so that I can explain certain things about the key focus areas there. Then I think we will have sufficient time for questions and answers after that brief clarification.
Okay, then
Okay.
Let's do this. I'm gonna go out and let's log in with another SDF. Okay. There we go. So the SDF has got 2 companies. We're interested in the project portal. Click on project portal. It populates both companies. You click on the edit view. When you click on the edit view, then these are the ones that were initiated, but you still have another option to create a new one as well. So Stanley, you wanted the key focus areas, right? So
yeah.
I'm just gonna go back to this one. Yes.
Yeah. So the key focus areas in the language of MESITA, these are obviously the MESITA strategic priorities that talk to certain indicators within our APP and SLA that we have with the DHEAD. Say, for example, you would have support for cooperatives, where it's a key focus area, our strategic priority. And then we would have obviously different intervention types that we plan to address any skills shortage within cooperatives. This can be, for example, it can be bursaries, it can be skills programs, it can be career guidances, it can even be non-credit bearing short courses. For lack of a better example. So I just wanted to highlight that as well, and then just ensure that there is that bit of understanding to say by key focus areas, what do we mean? We are talking about the MESITA strategic priorities, which are also obviously highlighted every year in the annual report, and also the APP that we sign with DHEAD and our reporting partners. Just to repeat again, the evaluation cycle itself that I had explained for Pivotal, it still also applies also for the project submissions. So it goes through that 4-step process that I explained. It starts with the verification, checking of the documents, evaluation, where now everything is being evaluated and recommendations are done. Then it goes to adjudication, where now it's adjudicated within the various committees that sit. And then it goes to MENCO for distribution of MOAs or award letters. Then there's obviously another process that happens in concurrent to all of those processes, which is the appeal, depending on the outcomes of, the verifications, evaluation, and adjudication. Colleagues are encouraged to utilize that, and if they want more detail, their CLO can obviously better assist at that. I think with that being said, we have come to an end in terms of the presentation. We've got some 27 minutes, and we'll be going to open up the questions and answers section, where we'll just allow for one question. I see there's quite a number of hands already. There's 15, 16, it's going up. So you're going to ask your question, and then one of our colleagues is just going to mute your mic, where we will obviously respond to your question. I'm just going to open up the chat there. Okay, I see we've got I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. Sune Broderick. You'll be unmuted, and then you can unmute and then ask your question.
Hi, good morning, Standing.
Good morning, Sune.
Right, my first question is related to the documents we need to upload. First of all, on my side, it doesn't ask for BEE documents, okay? It only asks for the project proposal. This, I believe, is the first time that we're going to have to upload such a document. Personally, I have no idea what this document should say. All I've heard this morning is that it's something we should have prepared. Please, can you go into detail or give us an example, or what is this? Because it's not a special project, Actually, the application, it's a normal DG funding application. So why is it even required to upload a project proposal? And then just very importantly, Stanley, I need another email address or another contact, because MIS support has not been responding to any of my emails. Okay, now I'll give the others a chance first. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So the first question is about the project proposal. That is only required when you are submitting a special project. I think what we did not highlight is that depending on the type of project, or the type of DG that you're applying for, certain documents will become compulsory. So for your pivotal, which is your straight pivotal, such as apprenticeships and etc., you will only need your BEE. Now for the projects, I think that's where now the project proposal comes in, which you also capture, but there's one that we require on your company letterhead. So essentially, your proposal should address some of the questions that are already there on the system, and then you obviously use that as a accompanying guide in terms of submitting your discretionary grants. And then when it comes to the MIS support, I think the only reason we had brought it up again is that we have included our MIS team members now to be part of that MIS support email, because of the concerns that you are raising, to say your issue is not being responded to. So if you can re-forward that email, one of the guys in attendance today, maybe not Lesego per se, but the other colleagues that are assisting us will definitely get back to you. We have ensured that since the start of the webinars, that there is someone that is responding, and our colleagues have been assisted in terms of some of the additional support requirements. And then we go to, there's a name called the Raj Skills. So I'm not sure if that's a company name, but you can come through Raj Skills.
Good morning.
Morning, Raj.
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. Good morning, everybody. Just a quick question from my side. In terms of the processes of applying for the grant, of course, there's various steps that happen. The company applies for the grant. Of course, the relevant CLOs in your province sees the application on their side. They then make a recommendation on a due diligence form. Now, over the past 3 years, the way that form looked changed. But that form is actual feedback from your region to yourself as a company on SDF saying that you applied for this and this is the recommendation that they see based on the criteria. But if you do not receive that due diligence form back, your application remains pending as a company, which means that DG won't know that it was recommended or not. So you will not receive feedback and even a chance to appeal, if I'm not mistaken. So what with all the changes that currently happened with the officers in the past year, for example, I speak for myself. There's many outstanding due diligences from myself, which I have followed up with my regional office, but still has not replied, has not gotten feedback. We are now in the current new year, with 24/25, but we still have outstanding due diligence from last year. So how as head office, how would you suggest we deal with issues like that where there's a breach in communication?
Okay, thanks for that question, Raj. What we can do or assist is that as the MIS, we support the process, but we're not really can I say influencers of the process. So what I can recommend is that if maybe you can just drop your email in the comments. And then what we'll do is that we will then link you up to the senior manager for client services, the acting senior manager for client services, for you to be able to follow up. Because I think the issue that you are raising is that you are kind of in limbo, where you don't know whether it's recommended or not recommended or what's happening. And that's obviously not assisting the process. So if you can do that for us, we will gladly just connect you, and then we'll just start that communication line between yourself and obviously the senior manager. And then if there is a need, or if there's another person within this context with a similar issue, I do urge and advise that you just forward your query to that MI support, and we will definitely ensure that it is responded to in time. And then, of course, if we can't assist from the system perspective, we will connect you with the right business unit manager or senior manager. We are moving along. There's a Donna Kremer. I hope I pronounce your surname correctly. You can come through. You can unmute and then ask your question, Donna.
Yes, you did pronounce that correctly. Thank you. I actually just wanted to know why I didn't have access to the Q&A earlier. Is it off during the presentation and then only turned on afterwards, the chat Q&A?
So the chat is disabled because you are using the Q&A. So if you go into the Q&A, you can post.
I see. Yeah, I see. I have access now. Yes, it was showing I didn't have access earlier. But I do have a question.
Yes.
I'm just very concerned about the move from CETA to QCTO.
Yes.
The discretionary grant applications are due by the 29th, and there are very few learnerships that are accredited, well, that training providers are accredited for with the QCTO. Is there no chance that MOSITA will consider extending that DG window?
I'll have to find out for you, Donna, with the, can I say, the senior manager for program implementation, to say there is this concern about the limitation of providers with registered learnerships.
Yes.
As an example, with QCTO, and with those not being, maybe those not appearing on the system, can there be a consideration for extension? I think from our side, we can just facilitate that that clarity, just to ensure that no one is actually left out.
Yes, because where do I even obtain a list with what you have currently accredited with QCTO? I've requested it from our local office, but they are still waiting to receive the list. So I have nothing to work with. I'm working blind and there's only a week to go. So it's very worrying.
Okay. I think what I can do for you, Donna, is that maybe just drop your mail in the chats, and then one of our guys will pick it up, and then it will link you up with the manager ETQA from head office to kind of clarify in terms of that list.
Okay, thanks. That would be great.
Thank you. We are moving along. There's a. Is it Linda or Lenda Mabaso? You can come through.
Okay, I'm using my wife's cell phone number, but it's Muzi Mabaso, yeah, for follow
Yes,
the
sir.
staff. Stanley, what I want you to understand, I am accredited with the QCTO for learnership, SAQA 101869, which is the qualification for project management.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I've tried also to populate my information with your database so that I can able to render that service. How can I be assisted for me to also to render? I know that project management is cutting across.
Yes.
Although now with the Skill Development Act, it says we need to qualification need to align to the occupational qualification now.
That's correct. Yes.
So how will I also use this opportunity under MESITA, because I'm accredited with the QCTO.
Okay. Maybe if I can ask for clarity, are you trying to register as a provider for training purposes, or are you trying to apply for a discretionary grant for
No,
project management?
I was trying to register first on the profile, to have a profile, and then after that I can apply for discretion grant. So it didn't allow me that, because if we look at the qualification,
Yes.
that is SAP 101869, which is the qualification. It is not on the drop down where I can select. You see.
Oh, okay. Maybe I think it's similar to an earlier question we got on the chats about qualifications not appearing and stuff. Maybe Mr. Mabaso, if you can maybe drop your mail on the Q&A, and then we will look at it in a bit more detail, maybe after the session, so that we allow others as well.
My QA here, it's so freeze. It says that QA was not set up for this evening. Are you an organizer? Can I get the email so that I can send it directly to that person or to you first?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, what is your email?
My email. Can you drop your
Yes.
email in the Q&A, and then we'll get back to you. I just need to allow others.
Or it's just that it doesn't want to allow me to drop there. It's freezing. It's freezed.
Okay, we will get your email from the registration. I think it might be your wife, but we will get your email from the registration information you provided.
Okay, I will really.
Sorry about that, Mr. Mabaso. I'm just cognizant of the time now. We are then moving over to Jade Strachan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear, Jade.
Thank you. So I'm merely asking for MERSITA to assist with communication with regards to triple BE certification. So why I'm saying this is that I work for a group. One of the companies was not triple BE compliant because of preferential procurement. So they failed because ArcelorMittal, who was the majority raw material supplier, had no triple BE certificate. Its preferential procurement is heavily weighted. So because of that, they did not apply for triple BE certification due to the non-compliance. So after speaking to the MERSITA team, I understand that you just need a triple BE certificate that is SANAS approved. it doesn't matter what your status is. And I'm asking to please help with this communication to the regions as well for discretionary grants for when the evidence is reviewed. Because
Yes.
you might find that you'll have a whole lot more employers actually applying for grants and maybe less administrative nightmares if people understand that it doesn't matter what their score is, just as long as they have a SANAS triple BE certificate. Because I didn't understand that. I didn't.
Okay, not a problem. JD, if I may ask out of curiosity, did we meet you in Durban, right?
Yes, that's correct. So I followed
Yes,
up with your legal department.
yes,
And
yes. Yeah, I
so,
remember that the CEO said we
yeah,
must speak to Stacy, who was there.
yeah, she was
but-
very, very, very helpful. But
Yes.
after speaking to her, I now realized that both employers and administrators within the regions don't actually understand that. And I know that this is a very new requirement. And I just think it would clear up a whole lot of uncertainty, especially with employers, if they knew that it doesn't matter that they're not a level 8 or a level 7 because of the procurement, that they just need a SANAS accredited certificate to be able to apply for a discretionary grant. That's all that the requirement is. It doesn't matter that they're not compliant, especially if it's not their fault that they can only procure from one specific place. You know, like for example, a ArcelorMittal.
Okay. So what I would request is that the same information that you received when we had the webinar session and the breakfast there, is that it's now distributed to all the stakeholders via the regional offices, of course, so that there's a common understanding.
Yes, I think it would alleviate stress with everybody involved.
All right, not a problem. Thanks, Jade. I hope you're well.
Thank you very much for the help. Yeah, well, at this point in time, we're now looking for a quote for one of the companies that failed on the preparation procurement. I don't know if we'll make it in time for this discretionary grants because it takes a while. But
Okay,
so we might be compliant next year.
All right, not a problem. Thanks, Jade. Okay, we are moving to Wendy Nonzaba. Wendy, if you can come through, unmute your mic and then come through.
Morning, Stanley. Morning, colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity. Stanley, I've got a query with regards to the pivotal application. So I'm applying for unemployed skills programs.
Yes.
And we've got one new bursary for an employed staff and one continuing bursary. So now when I select on the drop tab for the intervention type, unemployed skills program, it doesn't give me it gives me SEQA ID instead of giving me the option to put in the skills program code. How do I go about applying for those skills program, or do I use the main qualification that those skills program come out from?
If you know the skills program code, can you just forward it to us so that we can see if the skills programs on the back end have been set up to talk to the qualification that the skills program is made up of? Because remember, skills program is just part of a qualification. So we just need to look at your issue to see if it's not a technical problem from our end where the SP linked to the qualification that linking might have not happened. So if you can just pop us a mail with that screenshot, we can then obviously definitely look into that to kind of assist you. Would that work, Wendy?
Okay, not a problem. And then my last question, sorry. Okay, so for the unemployed skills program, so I've used the main qualification, the 65819 code, which is the level 2 learnership.
Sure.
So it pulls through the estimate value of the application, the grant application. But when I do the same for the bursaries, it doesn't pull through the estimated cost. Will that in any way affect my application?
No, it won't, because for bursaries, it is obviously going to be dependent if it's, there's a difference for the first years, second years, final years, and etc. So it's Mercita through the MOA function that will obviously come and determine the cost. For example, you might be applying for a bursary that requires specialized equipment. Is Mercita going to fund that? Yes or no? So that the bursaries are calculated differently from the skills programs, where skills programs, it's kept at the 80 credit type of limit. So it won't prejudice your application.
Okay, thank you so much. And then lastly, sorry, Stanley, with regards to the unemployed skills program that I'm applying for, sorry, do I need to submit a proposal for that?
No, it's pivotal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no proposal required.
Okay, and then the system will allow me to press submit without that pressing the uploading the proposal.
Yeah, it will have a red check mark on the document that you need to submit or upload.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Righty. Tepo Munaledi. Hi, Tepo. You can unmute and come through. Hi, Tepo. Okay. We are moving. We are then with Makuali. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Makuali Koarai.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Yes.
I was just struggling with muting, unmuting, or whatever. I think that might have been the same issue with the previous guy.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Morning, everybody. My questions are like 2 or 3, but I think I'll make them quick. The first one is that if I've applied for an X amount of apprentices with specific trades, but then the MOA grant is something different, will I forfeit that rebate if I complete something that is conflicting with what's on the MOA? So, for example, if I said I wanted like 10 diesel mechanics, but then you guys come back and say we'll award you 8 auto electricians and 2 tractors, doesn't mean irrespective of whether I complete these interventions, I will not get the rebate at the end.
The rebate will still be it will be aligned to what we had recommended for the funding. So if you applied for 10 electricians and then we give you, as you are saying, maybe plumbers and fitters and turners, the rebate will be aligned to what we have awarded you for.
Okay, but then what's the reason for then changing what we've applied for? Because normally what I've applied for is according to my business needs, right? So if I need diesel mechanics, why would you guys then award us something different? And then it becomes a futile exercise because you cannot fund me for it.
Now, there could be many reasons, and you need to clarify that with your CLO. It might be based on the outcomes of your workplace approval. They might have come and saw that you don't have the necessary equipment to do training for 10 electricians, but we do see that you can capacitate fitters and turners. So based on those outcomes, you will need to have a discussion with your CLO, because there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity to say you have applied for 10, we're giving you 7, and here are the reasons. You can actually either accept or reject and appeal that, and then it takes through another process. So if you agree to what then the change recommendation is, the CLO or the CRM, they are working on the assumption that you have read their reasons for recommending something else. But I think it's best you get clarity more so from the CRM than the CLO to kind of understand why the change. But from what we have seen on the system, some of the reasons are workplace approvals, capacity, lack lack of mentors, equipment, etc. It varies. It varies. So it can be specific to you.
So does then that also mean we can be awarded for something that we never applied for? For example, my recent grant included an award for an RPL, for example, when I never applied for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Hence, I am referring you back to your CRMs just to get the reasons behind that so that you understand the technicalities.
Okay, and then just in terms of this, the functionality of the NFDMS system, am I able to have like a secondary SDF credential, or is only for the primary and no one can have like secondary credentials?
Yeah, you can have a secondary SDF, but they will not be able to do the submission on your behalf or the company. The reason for that is that we solely place the responsibility of the submission on the primary. They can assist you in crafting and then populating the information, which is fine, but the final submission can and only be done by the primary SDF.
Okay, and then last question. In terms of appealing, right? Let's say we had applied for a particular number of bursaries and then we still have the same number. It's just that there's been a change in the particular study. Can we appeal on the basis of that, or is it only specifically exactly what you applied for?
No. You can actually appeal on that. So your appeals are basically if there's any deviation or reduction in the number and you feel that, no, I applied for 10. Let's say it's still 10 electricians. You applied for 10, but we're saying, no, we can only give you 5. For whatever reason that is, you can still appeal and say, no, I want a higher allocation of 10 of what I applied for. So the appeal is not limited to either a change in the course or a rejection. It's also the variation of what you had applied for.
Okay, cool. Thanks for accommodating my many questions.
Not a problem. We've got a minute, so I think we will be out of time. So maybe let's just take the last question from Joe Dalbok.
Colleagues, Stanley, Lesego, when you were doing your presentation, sorry, maybe I'm misinformed, but I was a bit confused about how you would indicate if there were other seaters that you were contributing levies to. I understood that you can only contribute levies to one seater. Is this incorrect?
I think that was on if you are being. Can you just maybe quickly flight that, Lesego? Just quickly as the last one.
It was right in the beginning. Sorry, I couldn't put the question in the Q&A because it didn't allow me access or in the chat. Thanks.
All right, we'll just quickly flight that so that we close this one. So that we can read the, it should be the pivotal. Yeah, maybe just open that. Discretionary grants. Just scroll down and click on the edit. Oh, there's nothing there. Yeah, maybe just select any intervention. Yeah. So I think it's more of the ETQA. So this is more of if you're, for example, there's a question that came about project management. It might be project management that is then QA'd by another seater, but you want seater to fund it because you are a company within the manufacturing and engineering related services sector. So we will still be able to fund you, even though we are not QA endorsing that, but because it's upskilling skills shortage within our sector, we will fund you. So it's more of asking to which ETQA does this qualification belong to or this program belong to?
Okay, now I'm clear on that. I thought maybe it was something to do with levy contributions.
No. It's just the QA.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, we unfortunately have run out of time. Can I ask that the colleagues that still have got their hands raised, if they can make use of the Q&A chat function? We will be distributing the questions and the answers. Maybe we have answered a question that you would have asked as well. We thank you for the time. The next session will be next week, where the topic will be now moving over to, the QA process of registering as an assessor and moderator. If you are interested in that, you can join. If you just want to see how it works, you can come through and join. We will distribute the links via our socials. We'll also distribute via bulk on our mailing list for the already registered assessors and moderators, and also our SDFs, because we know that our SDF play multiple roles. On that note, I would like to close the session. Thank you so much for the engagement, colleagues. May you have a great day further. Thank you and take care.
Thank you, Stan.